Hello smart money traders, a quick one right here, and this is the DXY, the dollar index, and I want to see how it will unfold for the rest of the day. Alright, so this is on Thursday 20th of August, and this is what I want to see price do. Right, we have said for a couple of days that I want to see price tap to my demand zone. This is my demand zone that decided to this swing break of structure, and then from there I can continue my bullish movement aiming at the swing high, which is my possible break of structure, and then from this level we can continue upward targeting all this buy side liquidity. Right, and from the daily time frame, this is what's happening. Also price is also in that direction, right, and we can see the momentum as it's approaching our weekly demand zone, where we want to see some level of buyers coming into the market. Right there, this is the point that we want to see some buyers coming into the market and take us through the level. Right, so this is the point where I want to see price come into. You see this demand zone, price going to tap it. Initially I was saying that we may have some struggle around this level, and we can see how price struggled around this level, and this was a demand zone. Let me annulate everything. Internal break of structure, internal break of structure, and this was the demand zone that led to that break of structure, and we saw how price was struggling around that level, and eventually it has broken below it. Right, that tells us I've had a change of character around this level. Change of character right there, and now that makes us this our demand, no demand but supply flip zone. Right, that makes this our supply flip zone right there. So we want to see how price will tap to this weekly demand zone, and then from here we'll target this level as the first target. Right, and then eventually we will see how price will continue upward to that level. Right, so that's it. That's what I'm expecting to see from the daily time frame. Let's tap to our weekly demand zone, and then from this level we'll have some bullish movement up to our supply flip zone, and then from this level we'll now decide whether to continue bearish or to continue bullish up to this possible break of structure. Alright, so this movement alone is enough. Right, that movement alone is enough, and then from there we'll see what price wants to do. Alright, so from the forward time frame, it's also the same thing. The forward time frame is just the same thing also. Price is approaching our weekly demand zone, right, around this level. Right, just the same thing, right, around that level. So that's where I want to see price tap to, and then from there we'll see how it will react bullish up to this zone. Right, we have a gap that was unfilled. You can see it inside our supply zone. Let me name this as our flip supply zone. Flip supply zone. Right, and then from there we'll have our direction. Right, so this was the change of character, so we saw from the daily time frame. Right, and this is the supply zone that led to this change of character, hence making it our flip supply zone. So what we want to see price do is just continue bearish, right? Tap our weekly demand zone that was untested, and then from here we'll have price do some bullish movement, right? This movement alone is enough for an intra-day trade or even swing trade. You can just take this alone movement and you'll be comfortable with it, right? So that's it. Wanna wait price to come to this level, give us a change of character or our confirmation, change of character, market structure shift, and then we'll take it up to that level, right? So until price will comes and taps our this weekly demand zone, and then we're gonna go to the lower time frame. Up to this point, we have no business going to the lower time frame, alright? Until that point, the price will tap this zone, then we're gonna go to the lower time frame to look for our confirmation to take that buy, alright? And remember, this is DXY, so whatever we do on DXY, we just replicate them on Euro USD or GBP USD, XA USD, but now we negatively correlate those currencies with the dollar index. So starting from the Euro USD, this is what we want to see happening, right? I was able to get some moves right there, but let me delete everything. Study from the weekly time frame also. We have this as our breakout structure. You see now how these guys are negatively correlated. Bearish breakout structure. And from the forward time note for but the daily time frame, we have this as our unmitigated surprise zone that price is targeting. This is where price wanna come to, and then from there we'll have a direction. Perfect. Right, from there we'll have a direction. That's the supply zone, and this was the change of color on the market structure shift. Market structure shift right there. Right, so we wanna see how price will tap to this zone, and then we'll have some bearish movement. Right, initially the same struggle that we are having on the DXY is also around this level, and this is the reason why we are having that struggle. This was an internal breakout structure. Internal breakout structure. Unique internal breakout structure, and this was the supply zone that led to that breakout structure. So initially we wanted to see some sales from this zone, and then from the DXY we knew that DXY was targeting the weekly unmitigated demand zone that was much lower. So the chances of the supply zone not working was high. That's why we saw some struggles, but eventually price has broken above. I wanna see it close above, and when it does that, that will leave me with change of character around this level. A daily change of character. Alright, change of character, and that will leave me with this as my flip demand zone. Remember on the DXY we have a flip supply zone, but here now we have a flip demand zone that led to this supply zone failing and creating this change of character that makes this our flip demand zone. So we wanna see price tap it before it continues to anywhere. Flip is not written like this. Let me call it. Perfect. So this is what I wanna see happening. Price to tap our weekly supply zone, and then we have to come to a flip demand zone, and then from this point we'll see whether to continue bearish or to continue bullish. If price will close below our flip demand zone with a candle like this one, with a momentum candle, then we will know that we are coming down all the way down to this possible break or structure, we will know we're coming down to this possible break or structure, all these sell side liquidity. Alright, you get my logic. If price will close below our flip demand zone with a momentum candle like this one that has closed above our supply zone, then we'll now say that we are all heading to this sell side liquidity to create that possible bearish break or structure. But at the moment, this is where our target is. Price will tap our supply zone, and then we'll have that bearish movement up to this flip demand zone. So our first target is this flip demand zone, and then from there we'll see what price wants to do, and then we'll join the movement. Right, on this move alone is enough for us. We don't have to catch the whole move, just a chunk of the market, and that's enough for us. Alright, so that's it. That's what I wanna see, how it unfolds for the rest of the week. Right, so that's it. We'll come tomorrow or the next day and see what price will do, and then we'll take our trades according to our plan. Right, always follow your plan, execute, and stay away. Alright, just know that you are always one trade away. See you on the next one. Sign out.